Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Township Committee for Tuesday, January 20th, 2015. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of the meeting was properly given by transmission to the Star-Ledger, the Independent, and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with Township Clerk all on January 9th, 2015. Committeeman Fiore?
Here.
Committeeman Sharpenberger?
Here.
Committeeman Salvino?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Massal?
Here.
Mayor Murray? Here. Would everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to request a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our freedoms and way of life. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the introduction of proposed ordinances. We have ordinance 2015-3123, and ordinance amending fees assessed for return checks.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Public hearing will be held on this February 17, 2015. Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massal?
Yes.
And Mayor Murray?
Yes.
The next item is ordinance 2015-3124, an ordinance applying Title 39 to the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center campus. May I have a motion to introduce this ordinance to be held over for a public hearing on February 17th?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massal?
Yes.
Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2015-3125, ordinance amending statute 65-13 governing the permissible distance between licensed premises. May I have a motion to introduce this ordinance to be held over for public hearing on February 17, 2015?
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massal?
Yes.
Mayor Murray?
Yes.
At this time, we have a resolution for the payment of bills for January 20th, 2015. Resolution for 15-66. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massal?
Yes.
And Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 15-66. Next on the agenda, we have the consent agenda, which includes resolution 15-67 through 15-72, including bingo and raffle applications and volunteer fire department applications.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Massal?
Yes.
And Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt the consent agenda. At this time, we have Township Committee comments.
Okay. I'm going to go with Committeeman Sedambrino first tonight.
Thank
Sit up a
you.
little.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to welcome everyone to a new year, 2015, and look forward to a great year, and hopefully no bad weather. So that's all I have for tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeeman Fiore.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things tonight. I echo the sentiment of my colleague, Committeeman Sedambrino. Looking forward to a great year, and also anything we possibly can do to keep the bad weather away. As the CFO always tells us, less snow is better budgeting. So, with that said, just a few things for February that I'd like to just put on the radar that I had mentioned in previous meetings, but I would like to first, once again, in a workshop or committee meeting, I would like to come up with some kind of standards for LED signs and an LED ordinance. I continue to say that these things pop up. Not that I oppose LED signs, but I do oppose the flashing and distraction that they can cause if they change every 3 seconds that many of them that are popping do. I think there needs to be standards. I think there needs to be, again, I don't oppose them. I ask anybody to rip them down, take them off, or shut them off. I think we just need to have standards to prevent this from looking like mini Las Vegas, which is what's going to happen to every municipality if standards aren't reached and followed. So I would like to see that action entertained with an ordinance introduction sometime in February, maybe discussion once again at the workshop meeting in February. And secondly is one of the other things I'd like to see, I've spoken to the attorney, to you, Mayor Murray, and the administrator, I'd like to see entertained is a more formalized committee with respect to youth athletic sports organizations, which as a member of the Shared Services Committee with the Board of Education, clearly we have been addressing the needs of our youth sports athletic organizations that use our facilities such as soccer fields, baseball fields, football fields, and the like. And I would like to see a more organized, formalized committee that will have membership, not only a member of this committee and a member of the Board of Education, but also a member of each, one designated member per year of each youth sports organization that works with our recreation department to have a monthly formalized meeting at a standard meeting night once per month with representation from the township and recreation and somebody from parks maintenance that will be designated by Mr. Maloney. So I would like to see that formalized. I'd like to see that drafted hopefully in February. And finally, just something that did not get a lot of press because it was by purpose, but the foundation that I helped found 2 years prior, a little over 2 years ago, from Superstorm Sandy, the Middletown Disaster Relief Fund, as of the end of December, has actually exhausted all contributions to the residents of most affected by Sandy. So, very thankful to the community that opened up their hearts for contributions and all the organizations that helped us, help everybody rebuild in Fort Monmouth. And still a long way to go, and we realize that there's a lot of red tape, but the MDRF was able to contribute 100% of about $1 million. That was raised over a 2-year period, and that's now the fund is now, the board agreed to close it. So just wanted to make sure that my fellow committee members understood that it was something that was very worthwhile, and hopefully it would help make a difference to a lot of people who still continue to struggle, but we're in the need that the community rally around. So with that, I've spoken enough. I thank you for your time, and look forward to a great year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Dr. Sharpenberg?
Thank you. And since my colleagues already jinxed us, I won't say anything about the weather, so, but here's hoping. One thing I will say is about the faith-based initiative. Many of you may have read about it. We've gotten tremendous coverage on it, and we're really looking forward to great things. The mayor and I met with a few of the organizations, and I think we'll really have a great year with it.
Great.
And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Briefly, welcome to 2015, everyone. We are looking for a great year working with the mayor. A couple things I was thinking about on a workshop, maybe for next month in February. Directional signs, you see them all over town, which I think if we can maybe tighten up, or we look at our ordinance on that. That's something we need to look at. Aside from that, that's about it. And thank you.
I'm going to be brief because I'm shivering. Just very quickly, one of the things we're looking forward to working on with the library in March for our KIC program, which is a community identity program. We're going to be focusing on women in Middletown. So we'll get a little interesting stories on the women that we have in town. And one other thing we're working on with the administration is a student internship program for older students. Very preliminary, but we're looking forward to cutting some costs and giving some students some really good opportunities at the township. So with that, I know, I think I have a feeling why you guys are all here. So we're gonna open up to public comment, and just for the record, when you come up here, you just state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes. So who would like to go first? Sir.
Good evening. I'm PK 17 Lydia Place, Portmont section of Middletown. Been there for about 2.5 years and was over the house for about 20. I'll read the letter that I prepared for you guys that I'll hand in. Who may concern, we the people listed in the sign below, Lydia Place, Portmont section of Middletown. Hereby notify you of our displeasure dealing with the following. During the second week of November 2014, a tractor and at times a trailer started being stored overnight on our block. The police have been called and numerous neighbors have called the township. The response that is unanimous across the board is that there is no longer an ordinance in place addressing commercial vehicles being parked in residential neighborhoods. Some of the complaints from all my neighbors are long idling of the engine at all hours of the night, safety concerns and hazardous material being transported and stored overnight on our block, homes shake as the truck takes a U-turn in the cul-de-sac and drives down the block all hours of the night, contamination of the neighborhood from oil and debris left behind after working on the vehicle industry, property value in an already volatile section of town, both Sandy. Truck creates obstruction of view from vehicles coming on and off of Lydia Place, and the overall quality of life. We believe this vehicle is owned by Paul Anderson of Wilson Avenue. We gave the plate number here. We'd like to see some kind of ordinance put back into place for the Township of Middletown restrictions to be set for commercial vehicles in the parking within residential areas. It's 11:30 at night. Truck comes down the block, and you feel it. I don't know how the block was built, but from what I understand, it was parked. It was built up for grading, for flooding, flood purposes. So I guess it's a soft ground where some of the houses already sank. And the quality of life is just terrible. We have neighbors here who sure want to share their story. I don't even live in front of the house, the front of where they're parking. Now we have 2 trucks, and we went to him, asked him to put his truck back on Wilson Avenue where it's been for 20 years. And the cop that was there Saturday also made a recommendation. He doesn't want to hear anything. He said there's no ordinance. And I started tracking this in November because we paid our mortgage off, and I paid taxes for the first time in the township by a check, not my mortgage. I sat there and said $8,600 to live in the Portmont section of Middletown, which when I grew up, I didn't live with it. The only part of town I can afford at this point, $8,600 in taxes, nobody wants to come out and reassess for somebody who's parked a tractor trailer for the house. So we'd like to see something done. We called the cops a couple times. I was on Fort Newark container terminal for 2.5 years. I have a little bit of knowledge of how much these containers weigh. A 40-foot container averages between 80 and 120,000 pounds. 3 weeks ago when I called the police, there was a flammable placard box there. Back in November, there was a flammable box there, 3.2 placard. Anybody knows anything about it? A tree goes down, lands on it, will blow up the end of the block. That's all I have to say. I don't have a copy of this and everybody's signature on it. And there's 2 people on the block who haven't been able to contact me because I work, they work, so forth and so on. But pretty much the rest of the block is here to support our.
Well, we have somewhat good news for you. This is something that we've all been following, and I'll let our attorney and our administrator comment if they'd like, but we've discussed having a discussion about this at our next workshop meeting to see what kind of parameters we can legally place and what we can do about something like this. But also, I don't think we've ever actually had a commercial ordinance before.
According to the gentleman downstairs, I want to say Neil something, he's in the health and safety.
Yeah, I don't.
Neil said
we
that
don't
6
think
or
that.
7 years ago.
No, that's not,
Yeah.
not correct.
And
That's what he told us.
and
I gotta
also,
tell you, my father-in-law drove for local 817 in the city, and he was not allowed to bring home a box truck without calling it into the township in the police department for all the stores.
Mayor,
also-
Mayor, if I may.
wait, I just want to say one more thing. If I'm not mistaken, we also have an idling ordinance. You're not supposed to leave the car idling.
They're not enforcing.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta get the cops down there at the right time. People have video, because people live there with kids that can open up, school teachers from town.
Well, I think
Except
that's
like
2
top
different,
hands tied.
that's, well, there's 2 different issues, right? So one is if you're showing video to the police department of an idling situation and they're not seeing that, well, that's one thing that the administrator will probably be is now, if that's brought to his attention, we'll address that. That's issue number one, 'cause there is an ordinance on file. But I can tell you,
That's a state law.
State law, right. As a state law, right, so there is an idling state law here, so that's one thing, so you shouldn't be receiving that, and I'm gonna take the benefit of the doubt and say that, maybe they're not aware of that, or whatever the case may be, but as for the commercial vehicles, I'm on the committee now since 2009, which is 6 years, and I can tell you that there was never an ordinance rescinded ordinance within 6 years, and I know Dr. Scharfenberg goes back probably
Yeah.
10 years or so, and don't believe there was at that point, so.
No, we wouldn't have rescinded an ordinance like that unless it was challenged and found to be illegal.
A lieutenant at the desk, the first time I called, which was...
Well, he's wrong.
Yeah, he told me the same thing, then I went downstairs and talked to Neil for that department. I came here, so I came to, I know I came to the mayor's office, I requested a meeting there, I requested a meeting with the administrator, so I let them know before I came here tonight.
So the moral of the story is, it is an issue that, we now have been brought to our attention as happening on the block. It shouldn't be happening anywhere in town. There should be some kind of ordinance with respect to commercial weight limits,
Eliminates the...
Right. So, look, I think we have to be careful in so much you just can't say any commercial vehicle, because if somebody's the bread man, you're taking him off the street, or a pickup truck that has commercial plates, you're taking off the street. But I think the committee, with the consultation of our attorney and our administrator, can come up with a pretty tight ordinance based on weight, and we're committed to doing that. I think it's good for the town as well as your neighborhood. So thank you for bringing it to our attention.
And I think our administrator would also like to comment.
Just to clarify, I've been here a lot longer than any of these guys, and there's never been an ordinance that prohibits commercial trucks or even regulates the size of commercial trucks on streets. There is an ordinance that regulates them in driveways on private property, but there's never been one on streets. The other thing is that in the past, the only places that there are some regulations are some developments in town have homeowners association rules, and they have a little bit of a different thing, that some of them have to say no commercial vehicles at all. So I don't know where somebody might have lived in the past, might have lived in an area that actually had a homeowners association from the day it was built. But other than that, that's the only time that there's any rules about the size of commercial. You can do them, we would have to move it. And that's what we're going to talk about at our next meeting, is coming up with a weight limit that makes
Yeah, I'm
sense.
just getting the information
Yeah.
from the people of the town.
And it would have to be overnight parking, because you can't restrict, right, you can't restrict a commercial vehicle, you can't get furniture delivery then, right? So that becomes an issue, so we'll make sure that we craft something that meets your needs and the needs of them.
You guys have a copy?
You don't put
You can just, if she'll make, the clerk will make.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're missing two at a whole lot of this stuff, we're seeing, so I can get that right done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to make public comment? Okay.
Hi, my name is Mike Giuliaccio. I live at 19 Lane Place. I've been there for approximately 6 years. I've been in the truck repair business for 50 years. I know what a truck can do to an asphalt driveway, an asphalt highway. We just recently spent $80,000 putting 2 new aprons in that were asphalt because the truck's making turns with trailers, without trailers. And pretty soon, Lydia Place will need repaving because of a tractor trailer coming through and turning down the end of the street with a tractor trailer as those 20-inch, 24-inch tires turn into the asphalt, not going to be anything left. I don't know if the street was ever paved, because like I said, I've only been there 6 years, but with that truck traffic, not going to be much longer, it's going to be deep paving. And up the street on the corner, with the oil, he changes his oil drops on the ground, diesel fuel, and all about what that does to asphalt too, destroys it. So, I think our taxes are high enough, we want to raise it a little bit more to asphalt
We all pay it.
driveway.
We're all paying.
I'm sure we are, but, we live on video, you guys don't.
That doesn't mean it's any less important to anyone.
I understand
I mean,
that.
that's not really fair.
But, do we need to repave the road that doesn't really need paving? We don't.
Understand.
Okay,
We'll be talking about it at the February meeting.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just had Ted, isn't there some sort of DEP prohibition against somebody changing their oil in the street like that? Yeah, or disposing of oil, you know? Yeah. So maybe that's the way immediately you can, you know, you can clamp down on that at least.
Anybody else like to make a public comment? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Susan Roseanne, and I live at 11 Lydia Place. Now, my main concern is safety. I drive my son to school, and when you're talking about weight, I'm thinking size. And the size of the truck is an obstruction for when you're going out, because you cannot see vehicles coming in. So I would like to keep that in mind, you know, take that into consideration when you make your decisions.
If there's a,
Safety is main.
if there's a traffic blocking, right, where you have an unsafe condition of any vehicle parked in an intersection, that's something you have to call the police for. No matter what vehicle, we can't make a rule to keep a school bus off a street or, you know, size vehicle. That's just not, it's not going to be a standard that, you know, that would hold up in court. So a weight limit, an overnight weight limit, we have to work with our attorney to hold things up that will hold up in court when the violation happened. But anytime someone's causing an unsafe condition, truck, bus, car, parked too close, that you have to call the police. That's not something that we can ordinance on. So.
Okay, yeah, another issue, is we've lived there since that place was built. This place was built, I was in 1991, we moved there. And we've maintained that whole area because we happen to own the strip that goes down to where that car, to where the trucks are parked. So we've been maintaining that since we bought that house there. And now to have him come there, and he's parking and like, you know, they're saying that, you know, there's oil slicks and, you know, all that's happening, who's going to maintain that area? You know, it seems there has to be a better solution to where he, you know, he parks.
We hear you loud and clear. I mean, this is where we get it, and we got it.
Okay. Just let me know.
We're on.
For my son, you know, safety.
We all have kids.
Okay, thank you, thank you. That's something I want to voice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what, Mayor, maybe we can pass on to Chief Weber exactly the list of items that we feel are infractions now. So he could pass it on to the patrolman and say that, you know, look for this infraction of that, you know, so they know exactly what the complaints are, you know, and beware, you know, wary of it.
Anybody else? Yes.
My name is Linda Hayden. I live at 10 Lydia Place. I am the lucky person who gets to stare directly at two vehicles which park at the end of my driveway. So for me to back out of my driveway, for me to pull into my driveway, it's incredibly dangerous. This weekend, we had more than one rig. We had two. He worked on both of them simultaneously.
You want to in the street?
He has them in the street at the end of my driveway, so that I look at them. We have pictures if you want to see them. He had two rigs. Both of them he was working on. Both of them were running. The police were called, but by the time the police got there, of course, the trucks were off. And the policeman said that there's nothing they can do because the trucks were now off. Now he's not doing anything that's illegal. But I was driving down Wilson Avenue, and I'm on my street yet, and I heard like a loud thundering roar of the trucks, only to find out it's the truck that's sitting directly in front of my house. I have a 6-year-old and looking forward to the spring where she can ride a bike and she can just play, and you know, this huge truck is just sitting there. And it is right by where the bus stop is for my daughter to go to school. And, you know, people can't see us or coming down Wilson, so the kids are walking back home. I just concerned that they're not going to see that.
Tony, isn't there a statute, Brian, you may know this, isn't there a residential statute for weight limit in the first place on residential roads? No?
No.
No. Not,
There's not.
state statute.
There's
You can't. There's a number of federal preemption issues with respect to the regulation of traffic and trucks that are in motion that are different from parking.
And I'm just concerned too, because that was just the 2 rigs. He also has the trailer that often comes home too. So he has 2 rigs and a trailer in front of my house, and then what comes next? Or 1 or 2 trailers, and he has a whole business around from my house. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Party now.
James Myers, 1 Living Place. I have a cease and desist letter that says I can't work on anything in my driveway. So how this guy is working on his truck in the street aggravates me. So it's part of town record that I have a cease and desist letter
From
this town.
Like I said before, there are rules about the size of vehicles that can be on private property. Streets are different. They're treated a little differently.
So I can't change my oil in my driveway, but this guy can work on his truck.
Well, I doubt you have a cease and desist order to stop changing oil on your own vehicle.
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yes.
I'd like to see that then, because that doesn't make any sense. Unless it's a commercial vehicle
Thank you.
that you're doing work on as a business. If you're doing it as a business, that's a different matter. All right, then you bring me that letter in and deal with that.
Sure.
But there's a big difference between private property and street stuff. And there is an ordinance that regulates the size of vehicles that can be on private property or in driveways. I think it's 10 tons, if I'm not mistaken. But there's nothing to deal with streets because a lot of people do drive their commercial vehicles home every night. But we can deal with this by putting a weight limit. And I think that's the simple way to solve this problem.
Does anyone else care to make a public comment? Okay, seeing no other members of the public wishing to make a comment, I move to close the public portion and adjourn. We're all here after the meeting if you want to talk to us.
Second.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes.